I'm now going to invite two speakers up to the stage, Jimmy Harrington and Mel Yeates, if you'd like to make your way. Connie had an eye for remarkable young Australians and a habit of drawing them into the village. Jimmy and Mel stood out because they stood up.
In the last year, I have driven 35,000 kilometres, played more than 100 gigs, and have raised just shy of $100,000 for Beyond Blue and Love Your Sister. Why mental health and cancer research? Everyone has a story to tell, but not everyone's ready to share it. I've spoken to thousands of people this year, and somewhere in each of these stories is a personal experience of battling cancer, depression, or both. Two of my friends were killed when a tree landed on their tent during Year 9 camp. One of them was my best friend Kerry, and we shared everything, even the same birthday. Going to one funeral is always hard, but attending two in one day? It was too much. I stopped studying. I stopped feeling happy. I felt that I couldn't allow myself to be happy because if I did, something bad would happen. I pushed my friends and family away because I didn't ever want to hurt that badly again. And I didn't realise how bad I actually was until I came out the other side and could look back. Back then, depression wasn't something that was really spoken about, and it's still not talked about enough now. It took years to mend my relationship with my family, and 15 years later, it's still not completely healed, but I'm working on it. My family's no stranger to cancer. Several of them had had some form of cancer, and not all of them have beaten it. My cousin's had leukemia twice. The second time it came back, he had to have a double lung transplant. He now runs marathons and triathlons. I've spent 12 years working in retail, and I've never I'd been on antidepressants. Within 10 years of applying, I wasn't accepted. I've had my fair share of racism and sexism too. Once I was told, it's an Australian thing, you wouldn't understand. And I get called Sir a lot because I prefer comfort over vanity. All of these factors had me spiralling into this rut that I couldn't see a way out of. I hated watching the news because all I saw was war, killing, hate, and anger. Then I saw a news story about a woman called Connie who was kicking up a stink because her little brother Sam was quitting acting so he could focus on raising money to vanquish cancer, without discussing it with her first. I did a bit more research, and turns out this Samuel Johnson wasn't just an actor. He was a guy who unicycled around Australia for a year for cancer research and co-founded a charity with Connie called Love Your Sister. It got me thinking, what could I do to make a positive difference in this world? Well, I'm not crazy enough to unicycle around Australia, or walk, but I thought I could do a busking tour. I've played a piano for close to 20 years and the guitar for about 6. And unfortunately, the piano's a bit too big to fit in my car. I wrote Sam an email explaining who I was and that I'd had this idea that I would raise 20 grand in 20 months by busking around Australia, and it would be split between Beyond Blue and Love Your Sister. He called me that night, really excited about my idea. Super excited, possibly a bit drunk. And over the next 5 months, we emailed back and forth. I finally met him when he came up to my fundraiser at Mount Hotham, and within 6 months of fundraising, I'd hit my initial target. Sam turned to me and said, now that you've hit the $20,000, how about we raise it to 100? Challenge accepted. I started this journey with no direction and no clear idea of what I wanted to do with my life. I went from living out of my car and relying on the generosity and kindness of strangers all the way to here, to being the newest and proudest member of the Love Your Sister team. I haven't slept a lot since then, but I couldn't be any happier. So thank you, Con. Thank you for making your snotty little brother unicycle around Australia and for challenging people like me to step up and make a difference.